Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Chew. I'm Robert Wallace. This is the place where we ask, are we choosing the way of Jesus, or are we choosing our own way? This week, as we continue to look at being red letter people to become a red letter church, we're doing this challenge, and so we're looking at Matthew chapter 9, verses 1 through 38 this week. I want to encourage you to read this passage in full as we explore for the rest of the week these three theological affirmations. The way of Jesus is compassionate. The way of Jesus is inviting. And the way of Jesus is persistent. Verses 1 through 8 of our passage in Matthew chapter 9 tell us of a paralyzed man who's brought to Jesus for healing. Jesus sees their faith and forgives the man's sin, and he is healed. And verses 19 through 17, we see Jesus calling Matthew, the tax collector, also known as Levi. And then Levi throws a banquet at his house, and he invites other tax collectors and sinners to join them and to have a time with Jesus. Well, the Pharisees are shocked that Jesus would do such a thing. And Jesus, knowing their hearts, he points out to them that it's the sick who need a doctor, not the well. Then there's also a conversation about fasting and new wineskins. I encourage you to read those. Read them slowly and see what Jesus is saying, and allow the Holy Spirit to lead you in your thoughts. Then in verses 18 through 34, we read about Jesus raising a girl from the dead. We read about a woman with the issue of blood that had been in that condition for 12 years being healed. We read about Jesus giving sight to a couple of blind men and healing a man who is demon possessed. There's a lot here, a lot to look at. And then in verses 35 through 38, we find Jesus continuing to go through the towns and villages on his way, sharing the good news, healing people of all diseases and sicknesses. Then we read this in verses 36 through 38. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." My friends, as we continue to look at this passage this week, and as you read it for yourself, preparing for the choose to come on the following days of this week, we need to invite the Holy Spirit to give us eyes to see and ears to hear God's truth from his word. Then we need to have receptive hearts and minds to receive these truths. And finally, we need to go forth into our neighborhoods, our workplaces, and our communities with the same boldness, commitment, and courage of Jesus to do what the Holy Spirit is leading us to do. Let me ask you these questions. Is our being in Jesus visible to the world around us? Are we compassionate, inviting, and persistent in our being as Christ followers? Are we choosing the way of Jesus that leads to life and life in the full, or are we choosing our own way? I'm praying for you today as you carefully consider this passage and the questions that I've asked, that you will seek the Holy Spirit's guidance today. I pray you'll have a wonderful day, my friends. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Go in the peace of God. Blessings for now.